My name's Adam Williams, the Mayflower Restaurant and Bar, Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's day one of Cheyenne Frontier Days, I think the 113th Cheyenne Frontier Days. I read Kerouac, I read On the Road. Back in the day, this was supposedly the place. And Jack Kerouac could have very well been here.
Montana Slim was asleep. He woke up and said to me,
"Hey Blackie, how about you and me investigating Cheyenne together tonight before you go to Denver?" Hell's bells, it's Wild West week.
As the truck reached the outskirts of Cheyenne, we saw the high red lights of the local radio station. And suddenly, we were bucking through a great crowd of people that poured along both sidewalks. Big crowds of businessmen, fat businessmen in boots and 10-gallon hats, with their hefty wives in cowgirl attire, bustled and whooped on the wooden sidewalks of old Cheyenne. Blank guns went off. The saloons were crowded to the sidewalk.
Oh, come on, guys. It's dropping off. Help it along there. Help it along. All right.
I was amazed, and at the same time felt it was ridiculous. In my first shot at the West, I was seeing what absurd devices it had fallen to keep its proud tradition. First we milled with all the cowboy-dudded tourists and oilmen and ranchers at bars and doorways on the sidewalk. I went into a chili joint, and the waitress was Mexican and beautiful. I ate, and then I wrote her a little love note on the back of the bill. The chili joint was deserted. Everybody was somewhere else drinking. I told her to turn the bill over. She read it and laughed. It was a little poem about how I wanted her to come and see the night with me.
I'd love to, Chiquito, but I have a date with my boyfriend.
Can't you shake him?
No, I can't.
Some other time I'll come by here, I said. And she said,
Anytime, kid.
Still I hung around just to look at her and had another cup of coffee. Things were going on as wild as ever outside, except that the fat burpers were getting drunker and whooping up louder. It was funny. There were Indian chiefs wandering around in big headdresses and really solemn among the flushed, drunken faces. We picked up two girls. We took them to a rickety nightclub that was already closing, and there I spent all but $2 on scotches for them and beer for us. The girls wanted to go to the bus station, so we all went, and they apparently wanted to meet some sailor who was there waiting for them. I said to the blonde, "What's up?" She said she wanted to go home, in Colorado just over the line south of Cheyenne. The bus station was crowded to the doors. All kinds of people were waiting for buses or just standing around. There were a lot of Indians who watched everything with their stony eyes. The girl disengaged herself from my talk and joined the sailor and the others. Slim was dozing on a bench. I sat down. "I'll take you in a bus," I said.
No, the bus stops on the highway, and I have to walk across a damn prairie all by myself. I spend all afternoon looking at the damn thing, and I don't aim to walk over it tonight.
She said with a curl of her lips, "I'll listen. We'll take a nice walk in the prairie flowers."
There ain't no flowers there. I want to go to New York.
Won't you join me?
Ain't nothing in New York.
Hell, there ain't.
You have a special invitation to attend Audrey Hepburn's open house.
I'm sick and tired of this. Ain't no place to go but Cheyenne. And ain't nothing in Cheyenne.
Frontiers are the big daddy of all.
Of them all.
Of them all.
Of them
I'm
all.
a New York America. It's my first time ever, and I'm here.
I rued the way I had broken up the purity of my entire trip, not saving every dime and dawdling and not really making time. I hadn't slept in so long, I got too tired to curse and fuss and went off to sleep. I woke up with a big headache. Slim was gone. To Montana, I guess. I went outside. First I ate a breakfast, a modest one, of toast and coffee and 1 egg, and then I cut out of town to the highway. The Wild West Festival was still going on. There was a rodeo. And the whooping and jumping were about to start all over again. I left it behind me. And there in the blue air I saw for the first time, far off, the great snowy tops of the Rocky Mountains. I took a deep breath. I had to get to Denver at once.
I kind of accidentally encapsulated some of the beatnik stuff. I mean, I travel around a lot. I'm a bartender. I've lived in at least half a dozen cities. And it's always in the back of my mind. It's always been, I've always tried to, every place I've gone, try to see things through Kerouac's eyes, where the main thing that I got from everything that he wrote was just such a zest for life. There's recklessness in youth, and I think that he captures that the most. Not worrying about the future, not worrying about what the ideals that your parents have set for you, and I think that that's sort of a step that most kids take in one way or another.
There are a lot of influences the beats have had on me that, just learning. Something I do is once I get a little bit of a taste of a lifestyle or a concept or something, I become so fascinated and want to learn more, and at this point I'm like, how much time do I have? Can I read all the books? And there are definitely aspects of the lifestyle that I would like to apply to myself, and having no commitments and just having the courage to completely step away from it and just really be in the present moment and not worry about a week or a month or a year or a lifetime ahead.
I think the staying power that they had is due in part to their really appreciation of the arts in all its forms. In other words, it wasn't just literature or music, although those were two biggies, but they would get so excited, especially my father Neil, just about appreciating and living in general, that it was kind of contagious and infectious.
There needs to be more of a congregation, I think, of people like me or us or something like that, because that's what made it a beat generation, is these people came together to talk about it. They didn't all just sit in their apartments and write poetry about how they felt. They actually got together and became friends and talked about it and thought about it and went to other places with it.
The Beats didn't really try to become heroes. They weren't stepping out and saying, we want everyone to recognize us as important heroes. They were just standing up and saying, we don't think this is right and this isn't how we want to do it. And because they were doing that, people looked at them and were really surprised, and they ended up getting the spotlight. I am strong to myself and will really focus on what I need to do and what I feel is right. And so I think that was also a really big part of what the Beats had, was that they needed to do what they felt was okay and what they felt was right, and they weren't going to sink into the traps of society.
They weren't out to create any kind of movement or call themselves beat or hippies or anything like that. It just kind of created a life of its own later because their attitude toward life and art caught on. I think we could use a dose of their tolerance and actually moderation and inclusion and appreciation of the arts now more than ever.